Our in focus tonight is the Prime Minister says come to India if you want returns with reliability. I have with me Dilip Chenoy, the Secretary General of FICCI, and Ashok Kumar Bhattacharya, Editorial Director of Business Today. Both gentlemen, many thanks for joining us on this show. First to you, Mr. Chenoy, you must have heard the Prime Minister's address. What do you think was the key message that he gave to the global investors today in this virtual summit?
I think there were three key messages here. First, of course, like you said in your opening statement about India being a good investment destination and also offering, growth with stability and returns. So there was this whole message around that and messaging of all the reforms that have been carried and the initiatives that have been carried forward till now and how it looks good for manufacturing, agriculture and other parts of services. The second important message was that there's this huge opportunity, and this was a finance ministry, NIIF, event there, and there's a $1.5 trillion opportunity in the infrastructure space, whether it be roads, ports, airports, low-cost housing, etc. And it is this real opportunity comes with a lot of other things, and you talked about diversity of markets, the diversity of opportunity, etc. And the third big message was that India could really lead the resilience and be the center of economic growth for the whole global order. And that was a very important message there, which he actually talked about. So I think these were the three big messages which would be there. And I think this whole thing of India's growth could catalyze the revival of the global economy and put the global economy back on the growth path.
Okay, let me go over to A.K. Bhattacharya. AKB, the Prime Minister began by, talking about the pandemic, and he said it showed our people's resilience, our nation's the stability of our government policies and our endurance to, keep the economic engine rolling even in these difficult times. What was he trying to tell the global investors?
Well, I think he was trying to underline the importance of India's huge market, its huge potential as a global growth engine. Because don't forget that India now is the fifth largest economy in the world. And whatever happens to India, it does impact the global growth. So therefore, I think he is trying to convey, and rightly so, that if you invest, and these are the top fund managers, the venture capitalists,
right.
The pension fund managers. So it is not just a question of investing in greenfield projects or brownfield projects, but it's also investing in Indian securities, Indian companies. So it was a message to the global money bags, so to say that India is now ready for doing more business and has, after having countered the adverse impact of COVID, and as we have seen in the various data points that after the first quarter's 24% growth contraction, there are, the high frequency indicators of the economy. They show that there is some sort of a revival, and it's a steady progress in GST collections. And what he has added to his pitch is the mention or the enumeration of the reform measures that the government has taken, particularly in the area of agriculture. And don't forget, he also talked about the reforms that have been done in the area of the labor codes. And finally, his major point was on the taxation. Today the corporation tax rates for new ventures and new manufacturing companies is right now around 15%, now which is globally competitive. So therefore, he is trying to present India as a market that can absorb these investments because it is remunerative, and underlying all that is India's huge hunger for investments. As Mr. Chinoy pointed out, that we have an infrastructure pipeline project which is around 105 lakh crore. Now, this infrastructure pipeline will remain a dream if we don't get the foreign investment and the foreign capital to come in. What I need to also add here is that the last few months, the government has also liberalized the foreign direct investment policies to some extent. This is work in progress. More liberalization needs to take place. But I think on the whole, in the presence of the RBI governor, his own cabinet colleagues, and the industry leaders of India, he was trying to be a very effective salesman for the Indian economy so that the country gets the advantage of more investment and can give a bigger push to India's growth engine, which came up with a poor number in the first quarter of the current financial year.
Okay. Mr. Chinoy, the Prime Minister said, India offers you democracy, demography, demand, as well as diversity. He said, such is our diversity that you get multiple markets within one market. They come with multiple pocket sizes, multiple preferences, multiple weathers, and multiple levels of development. What was he trying to say to the global investors here?
I think the underlying message in that, and there were two other points which I'll come back after I answer your question. I think there were multiple points on this because there are different companies of various sizes and in various parts of the manufacturing or services or the food processing chain. And what he was actually conveying is for every size and type and nature of company, there is an opportunity in India. Even for large diversified companies, there is a diversity of opportunity in India within itself, and the opportunity is huge, and it's a stable opportunity, and it's a growth opportunity going forward. And he actually used a very interesting term. He used the word ESG, which is environment, social, and governance. Yes. If you look at the current trend world over in all the large financial investors, and there's a lot of emphasis on ESG. And he also said that there are Indian corporates who are examples of good ESG practices, and therefore that was an added aligning of the opportunities in India with what's in the mind of investors. And he talked about the changes that have been done in the financial sector and the financial reforms, and also of GIFT City, which is an international gateway. So he started off by saying that this is an opportunity to align our thoughts and vision about India being a great investment opportunity and being an engine of growth for the global economy. So I think coming back, it's any type of company, small, medium, large, multi-product, single product. If you're looking for a market in India, the diverse nature of in different states in India actually offers you an opportunity, and it is there for you. And all the reforms and all the tax incentives, in fact, even the production-linked incentive schemes he talked about, I think they're all there, and come and invest in India.
Okay. AKB, you talked about, the Prime Minister touching about the structural reforms that the government has brought in various sectors, the labor market, the corporate taxes. But there is one sector that he stressed upon, that is the agriculture sector. He said the recent reforms in the agriculture open up exciting new possibilities to partner with our farmers. He said with the help of technology and modern processing solutions, India will soon emerge as an agriculture export hub. With agriculture constituting such a big part of our economy, was he wooing all sorts of partnerships from technology to equipment manufacturers to, investors to come and partner there?
I think I'm glad you have raised this issue because we need to understand what is being done to Indian agriculture in the overall context. Okay. Now, most of our policies on agriculture were framed at a time when Indian agriculture was in a scarcity situation, where in a deficit situation, where we used to import our main agricultural food items. Over the last several decades, what we have seen is that the Indian agriculture has become self-sufficient, and not only self-sufficient, but it is also now becoming an important component of our total overall export basket. Now, but the policies have not changed. The policies continue to be focused as if Indian agriculture is still in a crisis stage, where in a deficit stage. So the agricultural reforms that took place in the key three areas were actually aimed at making sure that investments start taking place in Indian agriculture, which have been in short supply in the last several years. And the reforms will hopefully lead to greater investment in agriculture, in infrastructure that allows the Indian farmers and Indian agriculture to take full advantage of the markets. And the Prime Minister talked about the possibility of partnerships. And I think that's a very, very important area, and that needs to be looked at closely and with proper supervision, because after all, the Indian farmer needs that kind of support and a kind of a regulatory supervision by which his interaction with the corporate sector, whether it is with the farmer-producer cooperatives or whether it is the farmer-producer companies, are such that the farmer is not, in a sense, compromised or shortchanged. So I think on both, more investment in agriculture infrastructure, more investment in cold storages, more investment in cold chains, and more investment in private mandis where grains can be sold by the farmers without compromising the existing mandis, without compromising the minimum support prices scheme, will also help Indian companies to come and take full advantage of the potential of the Indian agriculture, which is why the Prime Minister talked about the possibilities. So therefore, the coming years, in my view, will have to be watched very closely, and the policy implementation will become even more important and critical if the kind of the reforms that agriculture has seen in the last few months are actually going to bear the best fruits for the Indian economy as well as for the Indian farmer.
All right. A.K. Bhattacharya, Dilip Chenoy, both gentlemen, that's all the time we have for in the show. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights and perspective with us. Thank you.